Yep.
Otherworldlyculture.com. JeffRulesAll.com. An umpire and a vampire square off week after week, reviewing movies outside their own strike zone. This week's movie is a 1982 Rocky III and a 2010 Dylan Dog Dead of Night, starring Sylvester Stallone, Brandon Routh, it sounds like South, Anita Bryan, Tila Shire, I don't know, Ty Diggs, Burgess Meredith, Carl Weathers, Tay Diggs, twice, wow, and Mr. T. Now, two guys whose spirit animals are Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, Tim Kretschmann and Jeff Miller.
And we made it in on time. You got in time.
Of course we did. That's what she said.
Oh my. Okay. Well, hey everybody. Welcome to Dead on the Bases. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Tim Kretschmann. I am the Vamp. And to my, on the show.
Left.
Oh, I'm not going to even try because it's all like backwards
See,
and
if you
stuff.
do this way, it means this way.
Yeah, Jeff Miller, he is the ump. He was once accused of being mediocre. That was hotly debated. And now it's generally accepted that Jeff is just definitely not normal. Hi, Jeff. How you doing?
Wow. I'm doing...
You took that as negative. Why? Why did you take that as negative,
I'm doing
Jeff?
way more than normal. I'm above normal.
Way above normal.
But because you know why?
Why?
Because, Tim, how are you tonight?
I'm wonderful, and that's just my looks.
And Tim's a really great guy. If it wasn't for Tim, this show wouldn't even exist. Tim makes this show happen, and for that, we're all grateful. So,
and you're my sidekick.
Whatever Michelle wants to think. But, Michelle, make us some brownies or some cookies, or, you know what? I'm not going to mention you anymore.
Okay.
But here's the thing. I don't know why you're pointing up. It makes no sense. To FiberCon.
No.
Hello, Michelle.
Hey, you're
I see it, but here.
Okay.
Hey, wait. Yeah. We said hello to Michelle. I want to say hello to Tiffany Shepis. I want to say hello to Felissa Rose. I want to say hello to Kane Hodder. I'm glad that you're all here tonight. We're going to give you a great show. We have Dylan Dog and Rocky 3.
Oh, people that are actually here. Susie, Bearded Beauty, Schwobet, Trogdorsk. We do appreciate those that come out live, and of course Shell. So really going to have a great show today. Now, what is this movie that you gave me, Jeffy?
Rocky 3.
Okay.
It's not Rocky 1. It's not Rocky 2. It's not Rocky 4, 5, or 6.
Okay.
It's Rocky 3. 1, 2, 3 rhymes with Mr. T.
Okay, and I gave Jeff Dylan Dog, The Dead of Night. Now, did you ever hear of this movie going in? You had no clue, right?
Nope.
This is not a well-known movie. It's amazing how unknown this movie is. It's shocking. But it's going to be interesting hearing what you have to say about it, because you are definitely the opposite of the folks that it's made for. This is definitely made for like people that were watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I can't wait to hear you talk all about it, Jeff. Jeff, tell us about your movie and give us your incredible review.
Wow. That all sounds extremely sarcastic.
What?
And so...
I worked hard on that.
And backhanded and like...
And you know I'm already hard.
No, I don't. So here's the thing, all right?
Okay.
DDON. Dylan Dog, Dead of Night. So Dylan Dog is a movie that came out in 2010. So that's about 15 years ago. No, 14 years ago. It's rated PG-13, and you know what? That's solid. It's an hour and 47 minutes long, which is a little too long. I will tell you more about
I'll agree with that.
I'll tell you more about this movie as we go. Now, I want to just touch on
This is a 1 hour episode of television, and it went for an hour 47.
100. Look at this. I'm spot on tonight, people. I'm spot on.
Oh.
But I'm going to say something now, and you're going to say...
You had something to say about the length of the film.
I did.
That's new.
It is. But did I not hit that thing on the nail of the head? whatever I just said. Anyway,
Yeah.
here's the
Okay.
thing. So Brandon Routh, and I looked this up. You spell it, you say it like South, so it's Routh South. So Brandon Routh plays Dylan Dog.
You did not look it up.
I did. Well,
You did not look it up.
It does.
This is a lie. You're lying to our listeners.
You go look this up. It's gonna say
It does
Routh.
not.
It says Routh, and then in parentheses it says South, so you know how to pronounce it.
Did it also say what his real name is?
No.
Okay.
Well, if it did, I didn't
His
see it.
real name is Brandon Swastika.
Okay.
Just so you know.
So let's get back to reality here. So Brandon Routh, like Brandon South, I'm just gonna call him Brandon South. Brandon South, because I don't like Routh. Routh kind of sounds weird. So he plays Dylan Dog. Rawr. Okay, but here's the thing about it.
What's going on?
Now,
Okay.
when I watch this, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna give you the straight dope. I'll be honest with you 100%, and this is on me.
Yeah.
I don't ever look anything up about a movie before I watch it. I don't
Okay.
read anything. I don't look at anything at all.
Okay.
But when I watched this, the two things that came to my mind:
Okay.
Tom Cruise, Christopher Reeve. The manners that he had was like Tom Cruise. I mean, I couldn't get it out of my head that I'm thinking this is Tom Cruise in this movie, in this role.
Yeah.
Then you look a little bit deeper, and I'm seeing a lot of Christopher Reeve Superman. I'm seeing a lot of Superman in this, and I'm like,
There is a reason for that.
right.
And
I-
you probably looked it up later and figured out what the reason was.
No, I just looked at the movie. I didn't look.
Okay.
I didn't go really deep. But here's the thing: I actually couldn't get past that. I couldn't get past the whole Tom Cruise thing and all that. It's like I felt Tom Cruise could play this role. I really do.
I feel like we should rename our show to Things Jeff Can't Get Past, because every week there's something I can't get past this.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing, and I have a couple things about the thing.
Okay.
So Anita Breen, are you looking at what I'm pointing at?
yeah.
Okay, she plays the
They're
main.
they're not the people that we do the show
So
for.
okay, so if you're watching,
Anita Bream is the lead female in the movie.
Her name-
She's a very beautiful blonde woman.
her name's Elizabeth. But here's the thing. So just go to TPIND. No, what is it? IMDb. Go to IMDb. All right. Go to IMDb.
Do you need a nap? Do you need a nap?
No.
Okay.
Go to IMDb and look this movie up. Right.
Okay.
So explain to me, Tim, this, and then I'll get back into my review, please.
Okay.
So Anita Breen, I'm pointing
Yeah.
at it, and you
Yeah.
guys, if you're at home, point at it also. It says Anita Breen, Elizabeth as Anita Breen. What does that mean?
Okay, if you look at it there in IMDb, she has an accent symbol over the I in Anita. See that? How it's a strange little accent symbol?
Yeah, it's kind
But
of weird.
in the credits, they don't put the accent symbol in the credits. So that's why it says as Anita Bream.
Great.
They didn't have the little accent
That's a
symbol.
little bit extreme for a Breen.
Well, that's how IMDb does.
But here's
stuff.
the thing, though. I've been seeing a lot of those, and it's been kind of throwing me off. When I've been checking stuff out, it's been throwing me off. But now I know, so I'm good.
Okay, those of you that are listening, let's keep a list of things that Jeff is thrown off by. I'm sure it's going to be quite a list, folks.
So, here's
go
the
on.
thing. So let's get back to
That's throwing you off. Okay.
let's get back to Dylan Dog. Wait, is that his name?
Yes, it's still done.
Oh yeah, Dead of the Night.
Yeah.
Dead in Night. No,
Yeah.
what is it called? Let's
Oh
just
my
say
God. It's Dylan Dog, Dead of the Night.
Dead of the Night. It's an hour and 47 minutes long. A little too long for me. So let's get back to this. So Dylan Dog. So what this is it Dylan Dog.
Okay. Yeah.
He's and it's pretty cool because it takes place in New Orleans. Everybody loves New Orleans. I loved New Orleans when I was there.
New Orleans.
New Orleans. No.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
New Orleans.
Yeah, there you go. So you're down there, and
Yeah.
and there's a lot of like black magic and stuff that goes on down there. So it's a perfect setting for this movie. This movie takes place like 99% of the night at night. Which, you know, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a big fan of like night movies, to tell you the truth, because when you have so you have to have all the lights off in your house when you're watching this. If you don't, then you lose a lot with the TV. So then it kind of throws you off. But let's get back to this. So it takes place. Tim, don't do it. Don't. I can handle it. Go ahead. But anyways, so Dylan Dog, who is played by Brandon Routh, he's a retired investigator, PI type of guy that goes after vampires and
Yes.
werewolves, right?
Right.
But he's like, you know what? I'm done doing that. I'm retired. So then what he really does is he goes after people that are like cheating on their wives, cheating on their husbands, blah, blah, blah. But then a situation comes up that Anita brings up to him, who she plays a person called Elizabeth. But then if you look in the credits, it's Anita Brand. So her dad dies, right? And she's like, hey, you got to help me out. And he's like, all right, well, yeah, I don't know if I want to do this. But it turns out that he wants to do it because his friend, his cohort, his sidekick, Sam Huntington, who plays Marcus, gets killed. And the thing of it is that he turns into a zombie. So this is kind of like a zombie film. It's got zombies. It's got werewolves in it. It's got... No. He dies early on, so that is not a spoiler. No. People do not... Tim is just getting trigger finger happy. So here's the thing.
Getting fingered? Is that what you said?
No, Freddy got fingered.
Okay.
All right. So Sam Hutchinson, who plays Marcus, who's his sidekick, dies. He becomes a zombie. So he's like, but it's clever because in the movie, as a zombie, he doesn't believe he's a zombie. He gets a black arm. He gets all sorts of. He can't believe he's a zombie. He's got to figure that stuff out, right?
You know, I just watched this movie this week, and I'm getting confused.
No, you shouldn't.
Awesome.
You shouldn't. So Brandon Routh, who plays Dylan Dog, his sidekick is Marcus, who's played by Sam Huntington. All right, Sam Huntington dies. Well, not Marcus does. Well, he doesn't really die. He dies, but then he becomes a zombie. Tim is just being rotten right now. But here's the whole thing. So the whole thing revolves around like I'm gonna ding myself. A badass zombie coming back, like a zombie from like the zombie times 100. Uh-huh. He's coming back, right? And they got to figure out how to get rid of this guy. And what it is, it's a sword thing.
It's a thought everybody's had.
It's a sword kind of like cross thing, and it's a heart.
Okay.
And they got to figure out where the heart is. They got to figure out where the sword is. And they got to do everything to get it so that this big zombie guy doesn't like make the world bad, where he's killing everybody, because it's all going to start from New Orleans. But what it is that you got to understand that vampires and werewolves and zombies kind of live in New Orleans. They're living around. And Brandon Routh, Dylan Dog, is okay with that. He's like, yeah, they all live here. But when they get crazy and they go off the chart, that's when gets reeled in. So what he needs to do is he needs to find out who this badass zombie is, take care of the situation, and get life back to normal.
Okay.
It's a good movie. It's really dark as far as like
not being able to see what's on the screen.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not very well lit.
Thank you, Tim.
I'll agree with this.
Look at this. I am so spot on in this thing. It was not well lit. You're like, what's going on? There's people flying all over the place. There's spit, everything going all over the place. Tim,
the thing that's frustrating about this film is they obviously spent some money on it.
Yes.
It appears to be not a high budget film, but like a decent flick. But there's like technical issues.
You know what I think hurt them, honestly? Because they wanted a lot of people to see this. So they made it a PG-13.
That's definitely a problem.
Look at this. I'm so on. People, you have no idea how on I am. Yes, they should have made it an R-rated movie.
We have an idea.
They should have made an R-rated movie so more things could have happened. I'm not saying necessarily nudity, but I'm saying there could have been some swears thrown in there.
It's pronounced nudity.
Yes.
Yeah.
There could have been some swears thrown there. There could have been different kind of violence, but they kind of like did this cartoon kind of violence. But the reason why is because this came from, it was spawned from a comic book.
Oh, so comic books only can be made as PG movies?
Are all the Marvel ones a PG or PG-13?
You tell me.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think they are. I don't think there's no R. I don't think there's any R ones.
Yeah, the biggest R-rated film of the year and possibly of all time was Deadpool versus Wolverine, which
Yeah.
is a comic book movie.
Yeah, but that's because you have who's the dude that plays Deadpool? Ryan Reynolds. You have that guy in there, so you got
Mariah Carey?
Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, I thought you said Mariah Carey.
Yes, but you know what? But think about Tim. All that stuff kind of evolved. This was a 2010 movie. This was a 2010 movie that was an hour and 47 minutes long.
Oh, that's important.
So maybe if this movie was made now, it would maybe be an hour, and maybe they'd mix it up some. But you can't tell me, if you're not looking at IMDb right now, you can't tell me that doesn't look like Christopher Reeve.
Okay. Well, you brought that up a number of times that you
I know.
didn't research. This is starting to become apparent. Brandon Routh's biggest role that he ever had
Yeah.
was a movie called Superman Reborn.
Get out of here.
And he, in that movie, it's a sequel to the Christopher Reeve version of Superman. And he basically does a dead-on Christopher Reeve.
Well, he looks just like him.
That's partially why he got the job, obviously.
I wonder who I look like. Maybe I'll get a job.
Okay. Lex Luthor in that movie, by the way, was played by Kevin Spacey before everybody knew that he was whatever.
Yeah.
And anyway, I personally think it's a much better movie than it gets credit for. But that movie flopped.
Wait, what movie? This movie or
Superman Reborn.
Yeah.
And then he went on to have a role on the TV show Chuck. And he has been in the DC universe on a number of those DC Universe Arrowverse shows that are on CW. So he's been doing a lot of work as a superhero, which this character, you might go back and forth, is kind of a superhero type of character. He's a monster hunter type thing, though he gets very upset when he's called a monster hunter.
I got a lot of like Sin City like vibe from this movie. Even though it wasn't made like that, I get it. But I got a lot of vibe from that because there was narration and there was these things.
It's definitely in the film noir type of film. Now, one thing I'm wondering, you being our expert in sports,
You're an ass.
did you recognize the major sports star that was in the film?
Not until I looked at the IMDb.
Okay.
I did not know who it was.
And he was tough to pick out, even if you knew.
Yeah, I had no idea. Kurt Angle's in there. Yeah, he's a wrestler and he played Wolf King.
He's a wrestler that also, I believe, was an Olympic gold medalist.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
The thing of it is, though, is that with this, you got a lot of Sin City.
So I gave you a movie with a sports angle.
Right. And you gave me a movie with a lot of narration. A lot of narration. I thought this was, I did like it. I didn't like it. I started out really liking it, and then I started to shift out of that.
Yeah, it's got a strong open, but it goes on for too long.
People, I am so on tonight. You have no idea.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Do you want to do Pauly Shore?
You know what? I almost had. Wait, on my movie or your movie? Your movie. Okay, so yeah, let's do Pauly Shore, and then I'll give you my rating.
Okay. Here's Pauly Shore.
Stop.
Woo!
I wouldn't doubt if he was in this somewhere. He's a zombie in here somewhere. What up,
He does appear to be a zombie.
What up, PC? PS. No, PS. Not PC.
Why is it? There it goes. Okay, so I took Brandon Routh
South.
and connected him to Pauly Shore.
Wow.
Through the movie Zack and Miri Make a Promo.
No, it's a porno.
A promo.
No, a porno.
A promo.
No, a porno.
And it connects to Jason Mewes, who is Jay of Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah.
And they're in the incredibly horrible movie Pauly Shore is Dead and Making a Promo.
I thought you are not going to use Pauly Shore's Dead because there's so many people in there.
Sometimes it's...
Okay, but you...
Let me put it this way. Trying to connect Brandon to Pauly was rough. Then trying to find a connection of somebody anybody has heard of was really rough. So I said, I try not to, but sometimes you're on the 18th connection and you're like, that's enough now. So, yeah, that's where we are with that one. So
you want my rating?
let me get that.
Are you ready
one.
for that, Tim?
Let me see. I have my guess. So tell me what you're gonna go
So
with.
this is what I'm going with. This movie, like you said, started out really strong.
Mm-hmm.
It weared on me a lot.
Okay.
And then towards the
Kind
end,
of like this show.
and then towards the end, I'm like, I just want it to end. And I just, Tim, I gotta give it just Cinco, man, 5.
5.
Yeah.
It's actually higher than I was expecting. So
Really?
I'm glad
All
to
right.
hear it.
What were you gonna give it? What do you thought I was gonna give it?
I thought you were gonna give it a 3 or a 2.
Nah, it's better than that. It's better
Yeah.
than that.
By the way, I'm
Because
being
there's a-
reminded. Hold on. I'm being
Yeah,
reminded by the chat room that Kurt Angle is actually from Pittsburgh, the home of Horror Realm.
Oh, good.
So that's a connection.
Maybe we'll
as
see
well.
him this year.
He actually came out to Ohio Fan Fest, and he was a very nice guy. He didn't look like he would kill me.
No.
I mean, I know that he could, but he didn't look like that was something he was actively
That was not his
plotting.
mind, right?
No, not that weekend.
No,
anyway.
yeah. No,
So,
a 5 is very solid for this.
I think it's about right.
It started out really hot for me because Tim,
It is, yeah.
because it had a story. You know how I feel about a story. If it's got a story, I'm
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But it failed towards the end.
There's also some things in the background about, in the comic book, his sidekick, Dylan Dog, his sidekick is a Groucho impersonator, Groucho Marx.
Yep.
They had to remove that from the story because of copyright issue, and they weren't going to pay for that because they considered it a small part of the story, and they came up with this whole thing of his sidekick becoming a zombie. I don't know if that helped or hurt it because I'm not really a fan of this comic book. I've never read it. It's I believe it's an Italian comic book.
Yeah.
So it's like it had a rough go just to get to the movies, and just a little heads up: things about the comic book might end up in our trivia questions. Okay, so it is time now to go to the break.
See. Oh, I get myself ready.
Do you have your thing?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so Jeff is getting himself ready. We're all going to get ready over here for a section we call Otherworldly Sports. And you can see Jeff is going through his notes. He's getting ready for the excitement and splendor that is today in sports. Are you all hyped up, Jeff?
Absolutely.
Okay, whenever you're ready, I'll hit the button. You give me the signal. Here we go.
That wasn't the single. No, I'm just kidding. Good evening. I'm Jeff Miller. Today.
Hold on. Okay, everybody. Here we go. Jeff is going to give me the signal.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeff Miller, and this is Today in Sports History, October 17th edition. In 1860, Willie Parks Sr. wins the first British Open at Prestwick Golf Club. In 1920, on October 17th, the Decatur Staleys down the Rock Island Independence 7-0 in the first American Professional Football Association game. The Staleys, as you may or may not know, will later become the Bears. In 1956, 13-year-old Bobby Fischer defeats the 1953 U.S. chess champion Donald Barron in the game of the century. This is really fantastic. Think about this one. In 1971 and in 1979, the Pittsburgh Pirates are crowned the World Series champions, defeating the Baltimore Orioles in both series, both times 4-3, closing both series out at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. Wow. October 17th, 1971 and 1979. In 1987, on October 17th, the first indoor World Series game is played in Minnesota at the Metrodome. And that's Today in Sports History. I'm Jeff Miller. Enjoy your evening.
Well, thank you, Jeff. That was very informative.
Isn't that thing about Pittsburgh pretty cool?
That's interesting.
On the same date.
That's amazing. by a number of years between them.
Yeah, 8 or 9.
That would be 8.
Yeah.
Let's make some merch money.
Make some merch
Oh,
money.
now you know it's coming.
Wait till March.
Is everybody ready? Everybody ready? Here we go.
Let's make some merch money.
Where are we getting this? Where are we going today? Ooh. It looks like an eyeball. I think I want to make something that's a DOTB
Open
on
up
it.
Muskego style.
You know, they still have one over at Brookfield Square.
Do they really?
No.
No, because I was gonna say,
Make it-
you know what you can do? You can always say that you're like the regional manager of Toys R Us, and no one will ever like question it. You can put
Yeah,
that-
they would. Yes, they would. They'd be like, there is no Toys R Us.
right. But I was at one time. They could
Oh.
never find out.
Oh, that's
Same
true.
thing with Radio Shack and Schultz's department store.
Apparently almost anywhere. Anyway, let's
Wow.
talk about, well,
We're just done with you, Jeff.
we are, because we are going into horror realm, everybody. Coming in only 133 days. Jeff, do you know how many days that is?
133.
Okay, good job. And they have a lot of great guests that they want to tell us about. And one of them is our latest guest announcement, Allison Court. And she plays one of the characters in Resident Evil, which she was a top star of. She did the voice talent for Jubilee in the old X-Men TV series.
Right.
That, probably the generation right behind us was really big on Saturday mornings.
Gotcha.
And she plays Lydia from Beetlejuice. And she was on and this, she actually was a face actor, I guess you would say, where she was on the Big Comfy Couch, which was a pretty big children's show in Canada that went on for, I believe, a decade.
Really?
So yeah, she has over 200 credits. As I crawl through there, I'm sure I'm going to find more
Wow.
as we go. She's done a lot of television voice work, though, which is why her headshot has a really cool microphone that I want to steal.
Yeah, you got it.
I'm going to ask Rich if she can bring the microphone, and I figure at some point she won't be looking, right?
Yeah.
And that'll be my
I'll-
time to strike.
I'll just be standing off to the right or left, and she'll be looking at me, and you can take it.
You know what? That's a very plausible situation.
Jason Baker.
This is on top of a lot of
Beverly
other
Randall.
announcements. We have a number of people from Return of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead. Joe Shelby is going to be there. Karen Cliche from Thanksgiving. Of course, we just talked about Allison. And Michael Berryman from The Hills Have Eyes.
Is that his
So
real head?
he has a medical condition. That's
I'm
why
not
he
being
has
funny,
the
I'm just
unusual.
curious, yeah.
And it's a fair question. He has a condition that gives him his unusual appearance.
Really?
Like, I think 2 of his fingers are kind of fused together. As I remember shaking his hand, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is going on." A very nice, literate man.
Oh, I believe it.
You know, it seems like the meaner they seem in the movies, the nicer they tend to be.
Yeah.
And the guys that are like the heroes, they tend to be the ones you got to watch out for. I'm just saying. Just saying.
I was just always curious. I mean, if that was like prosthetics or whatever, but okay.
No,
I get it.
it's a medical condition, and just a very lovely man to talk to. Very deep into philosophy.
Really?
Yes, I had a fascinating conversation.
Well, I look forward to talking to him. I would like to philosophize with him when I see him in Horror Realm.
I think people would pay money for that. I think they would. All right. So guess what, buddy?
What?
It's time for me to talk about your abuse on my eyes this year.
R3.
This week. Yeah, hour 3?
R3.
It seems like hour 3. I'm going to talk about a film by the name of Rocky 3, made in 1982. Now, Sly Stallone at this point had enough juice that he could. I'm going to bring this down just a
How
little.
can
There we
you
go.
adjust yours and I can't adjust mine?
What?
I want to adjust mine too.
You can. Good job.
No, that's not so good.
Yeah. Okay. He'll be working on
I
that
kind
for
of
an
want
hour.
mine. I want mine to come down from the ceiling.
Okay. So Sly Stallone wrote this one like he did the first two, but this time he got to direct as well. I will say what I really like about this film, and it's kind of minor, but I really like that this movie, even though Eye of the Tiger is played, 85 times in this film, they still play the original Rocky theme, the getting higher, that thing. I just love that they use that because I think that's an awesome theme song. And I know by the time they did Rocky 4, they kind of walked away from it because they had Eye of the Tiger now. And I'm like, no, that's the Rocky theme. So I did like seeing that at the beginning. This movie, you started off, and Paulie is back, who being a jagoff to everybody around. Well, and Paulie is upset because of Rocky's popularity at this point. And the very first scene, you see Paulie committing pinball abuse.
Yes,
He's throwing a bottle at a pinball. It's an actual Rocky pinball, which was a thing. And they destroy it, which is a horrible thing to do to a pinball machine.
Very much so.
The movie I'll give you the basics of the plot, is that Rocky is now the champion.
Yep.
And he's taking easy fights.
Yep.
He doesn't know they're easy fights because Mickey, his manager, is just kind of serving them up to him.
Yep. Wow.
And
Very
Rocky is now thinking about, maybe I'm done. And Mickey, his manager, kind of admits finally that he's been getting nothing but powder puffs. And Mickey passes away. That's a spoiler, but there you go.
Yeah, that's on you, man.
Yeah, let me hit the button on myself, but I think the movie's fairly old. But he passes away, and that sets things in motion for Mr. T to make his big move to become the next champ.
But he passes away during Rocky's initial fight with Mr. T.
Right, and I'm going to get more into the chronology here. One thing that they do early in the movie is Rocky, to show that he's kind of taking, cheap, showy type of things, they have him fight Hulk Hogan, who goes by the name of Thunderlips, as a wrestler. So it's like a wrestler versus boxer type thing for charity. Now, Thunderlips is Jeff's name on Instagram. If you look it up, you will find many pictures of Jeff in various stages of disrobe. So you may want to check that out, Jeff fans.
And you can go to Jeff at otherworldlyculture.com to let me know about that.
Here's the thing that throws me. Hulk Hogan is probably one of the best promo cutters of all time of wrestling. He was awesome with the mic. You would have no idea from this movie.
Right.
They have him cut a promo that is so wooden, it looked like he was scared for his life. Okay? Now, part of the behind the scenes on this thing is that Hulk was not yet the Hulkster, the Hulkamaniacs, and all that stuff. This was, in fact, I believe he got fired over taking this job. And it wasn't until later on, it was Vince McMahon's father fired him, and then Vince McMahon, the one that we know, Vince McMahon Jr., hired him back for what eventually became the WWE. I believe that's the timeline on it. But Hulkamania didn't actually start until January 23rd of 1984. That's when Hulk Hogan captured his first WWE World Championship, defeating the Iron Sheik. So it's a fun sequence, and here's where I'm going to go with it. it's a better filmed fight sequence than Rocky had in the first one. The first one, it lacks depth and it doesn't have great coverage. The rest of the movie is great, but the fight sequence is terrible.
Can you give? I'm sorry, but can you give Sylvester Stallone kind of a pass because that was his first?
He wasn't directing though.
Oh, he was.
In Rocky 1, it was Avinson, something like that, who does a lot of sports movies, actually.
But Sylvester
this
Stallone
movie
wrote it,
here, when Sly is directing, he had much better coverage of the actual fight. I thought it was really good. What's interesting about this is at one point, Rocky kind of defeats Thunderlips, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Very similar to the way that Hulk Hogan became a superstar. Do you know how Hulk really put himself over the top?
I don't think I did.
I'll give you a hint. It's WrestleMania 3. Like Rocky 3.
Is that when he slams
Andre the Giant.
Andre the
Giant. And here you saw Rocky do a body slam at him.
He had to take his gloves off, though. That was something.
Right. But I was like, wow, that's surprising. The other part of this is an interesting connection is the first WrestleMania, which was right on the heels of this film.
All right.
Was Mr. T and Hulk Hogan as a tag team partners against Mr. Wonderful and Rowdy Roddy
I do
Piper.
remember that, yep.
Yeah, so that all came out of the success of this movie.
I'm a Rowdy fan, just by the way.
I am too, and I've told you,
Yeah.
I've met him. He's a wonderful man, but you're not gonna ever meet him now.
No.
Anyway, then they have a statue dedication. They have the bronze fonts of Rocky up there, and Clubber Lang, who is played magnificently,
Yes,
by
thank
Mr.
you.
T.
Thank you. Yes.
He challenges. You had nothing to do with it. Stop thanking me. Clubber Lang challenges Rocky. Shortly after, Mickey reveals he got these cream puffs that he's been fighting. And Rocky then goes and makes the exact same error that Apollo Creed did in the first movie by completely just kind of skating his way through training.
Yep.
And Clubber Lang goes in there, and he's doing the equivalent of punching frozen meat in a locker. He's just beating the piss out of Rocky. At the exact same time, you have Mickey passing away in the other room. Now, an interesting point I have is, at one point, Mickey kind of says, with all this showmanship with the training, he says, you should join the circus. And Rocky starts humming the circus theme. Do you know what the actual name of that song is?
No.
I looked it up. It's Entry of the Gladiators.
Wow.
Which is, it's kind of like, wow, that actually connects. Anyway, Mickey, who is Burgess Meredith, he is one of the great movie characters. And his passing away, when I saw this originally, I thought, well, there goes the movie. Because I watched the first two Rocky movies. The thing that kept me in it was Mickey. He's an interesting character. Really? He's fun to watch, and he's just a salty old son of a...
What do you think of the fact that they did the counting of the knockout to like when he died? How they... did you like that or did you not like that?
I liked that.
Okay.
I liked it. But it is really heavy-handed.
Oh yeah!
I mean, it is. It's corny. But if you're watching Rocky and you're expecting it not to be corny, you are in the wrong theater. Terrifier 3 is next door. It's not going to happen here. So basically, what happens then is Apollo Creed, who is the villain in the first two films, he comes forward and he says, "I'm going to train you because you are not the." This was embarrassing what just happened, and I don't want the guy that beat me to be an embarrassment.
Right.
So he decides to train him old-fashioned. There's a lot of this stuff that you saw like in the first movie where it's gritty and all that.
But he takes him out to California. He takes him out of his element in Philly.
Right.
Takes him out to California, running on the beach and stuff like that. The big scene, like in Rocky 1, the big scene, he goes up the stairs. In Rocky 2, it's something else. In Rocky 3, he has to beat him on the beach. and that's when he.
I don't like the term "beat him on the beach."
I'll
When
race him. I'll race
he's
him on the
racing
beach.
Apollo Creed on the beach,
But there's always
and
that
he's
one
he
thing.
finally,
Yes.
is able to overtake him.
I think in Rocky 2
he comes from behind and he gets in there.
In Rocky 2 he has to catch a chicken. So yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
What do you mean?
There's nothing to it. Okay, so anyway, in my mind,
In your mind,
this is the best of the Rocky films. It isn't a comic book movie like 4 with Drago. This is a little more grounded because honestly, I don't see Rocky ever getting in the ring with Drago because it's basically the beginning of a homicide.
but does he get in there because of Creed? Because Creed dies?
Right, but I mean,
Like
it's
vengeance.
stupid. He should not go in there unless he's got a horseshoe hidden in his damn glove.
He did.
This Mr. T, I think, is a great
It is.
villain. He looks like an actual threat without being just completely over dominant.
You're right.
This is 80s fun at its blockbuster best. There's a reason this was such a successful movie. Only Rocky IV in the entire run did better, except for Creed III, which was roughly equivalent to Rocky IV.
Do you think Rocky 4 was because of the Cold
Cold War. It
no.
absolutely
Yes,
was.
all right.
It absolutely
Yeah.
was. And Sylvester Stallone, by that time, Rambo was also a huge hit and all that. So he was a top star at the time. This one made $270 million worldwide. 4 made $300 million. But keep in mind, these movies, they don't cost what Rambo cost. There are absolutely no Jeeps that explode in this movie, which I know you're happy about. But I'm serious. There's not the special effects and stuff. There's a bunch of guys whiffing at each other. So it isn't that bad. And also, in my mind, the best part of this movie is that it's not overly long. You've got the number, I'm sure.
Oh, no,
But
I usually check those things.
I think it's roughly an hour and a half. And what's nice...
139.
Okay, 1 hour, 39 minutes. I was off by 9. I apologize to our viewers that expect better. But what I like is that the film doesn't go and have 13 montages.
Right.
Rocky IV had like 13
It
montages.
did.
This movie, it's like, we're going to give you the one montage. You know now that he's trained the tough guy way. Now he can come back. And it didn't go overly into the Paulie stuff. I don't like all the Paulie stuff.
I agree with you 100%.
And there, and all the Talia Shire, which it isn't Talia or
I know,
whatever
I
you
said
had
it
said.
wrong. I know.
That was entertaining for all the viewers. But
Well, she should have a name like Terry or something. What's
Yeah.
Talia? Who?
Yeah.
Okay, besides her, have you ever heard of another Talia in your life?
yes,
Okay, I haven't.
Talia Smigolinsky.
You just made that up.
I did.
But you know what?
You know, I've heard of another Paulie though.
Pauly Shore.
That's right, Pauly Shore. There is a Pauly Shore connection
With
to
Pauly-
this film.
with Pauly and
now
Pauly.
we've done Rocky before. You know, we've done Sly Stallone.
I
So I
paid the
decided to go to Mr. T.
Good, thank you.
Mr. T, I had to connect him through DC Cab. I just felt a moral need to do it. I have seen DC Cab. Have you seen DC
Nope.
Cab?
Nope.
Yeah, that's not something you want to admit in public that you've seen.
I haven't though.
It's pretty bad. But Paul Rodriguez is in that film, and that connects to the Adam Sandler movie Sandy Wexler, which is another stinkeroo of a flick,
Yeah, I've heard
and
of
that
that.
does have Pauly Shore in it. And
Wow.
I give Sandler a pass on a lot of stuff that people don't like because I'm like, he's there to be silly. That movie, he tried to be a little too serious, if that's right for a comedy. And that was just not the right move.
Well, when they're throwing all that money at you, you're like, okay, I'll do it. Okay.
That's what Netflix does. They just write checks to Sandler. The horror movie connection
Yes.
for this one.
Let's hear it. Yes.
All right, we're going to see how you do on this, Jeffy.
All right, I'm gonna look this way.
Okay, so-
as you can see it.
No, you're fine.
Eh.
A lot of these we've done before. So we got Sly Stallone, who, of course, is a Hall of Famer from all those Rocky films. But do you remember what other one he was on this show with?
Yes. I give it to you. Victory.
Correct. Now, he does have a horror connection in IMDb, but I'm going to call it bogus. It really isn't a horror film, so I threw it out. Okay. Now, in our second position, I did put Talia Shire. She's billed second in the movie, which is ridiculous because she has, 6 minutes of screen time? But she has been in 4 horror movies out of 77, giving her a 5.2 percentage. She's been in Prophecy and The Dunwich Horror, and guess what? She's a Hall of Famer too. From Rocky and Rocky 4.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Right. You're putting it together, Jeff.
Yeah.
Then we go to 3.
Stop.
Burt Young. Paulie has been in 9 out of his 169 credits. He has 9, which puts him at a 5.3%. Tales of the Crypt, the 1997 version of The Outer Limits. He was in Blood Beach, which is a family film, and the Amityville Murders. And guess what, Jeff?
I bet she's a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer, everybody, from the other Rocky films.
I'm so glad that Sly Stallone had Victory. I'm just so glad.
Well, how about our friend Carl Weathers?
Yep.
He's been in 4 horror films out of 80, which puts him at 5% of his background is horror films.
Really?
So, what do you think about Carl?
I think he's a Hall of Famer, and I'm going to say not just Rocky, but Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore, that's a good pull, but there's one other movie. He was in Predator.
I didn't see Predator.
You did on this show.
You gave me Predator 2.
I gave you Predator the previous season.
We'll discuss afterwards. You didn't.
I'm pretty sure
Try
I did.
Zord, check it out because I know you did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. Anyway, moving on. We're going to go to our friend, the boogeyman, Burgess Meredith,
BM.
who, of course, was in the classic Twilight Zone in one of my absolute favorite episodes, Time Enough at Last. I even know the title of the episode.
What, is
Night
that
Gallery. Yeah.
Can I just interrupt real
Sure.
quick? I never do.
We know.
Is this the one where he's in like a library?
Yes.
Yes, I know which one this is. I've seen
one.
this one.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is one of the best.
Yeah, all right. I've seen this one.
He was in Beware the Blob, which I've yet to see. I have to get this done. He was in a movie called Sentinel, which is very well regarded as well. He actually, because of his connection to Twilight Zone, he was the narrator of Twilight Zone, the movie.
Really?
He was in the film Manitou, which is a horror movie that I think Tony Curtis was also in. So a lot of people talk about it, but not in glowing terms. So out of 185 credits, 12 of them are horror, putting him at 6.5%. He has the highest percentage for this movie of horror movie credits.
Do you think?
And do you know what else?
What?
Sorry, he's a Hall of Famer for Rocky.
So do you think he's more well known for Rocky films or for being the Penguin in Batman TV show?
I think Penguin.
I was going to say the same.
I think Penguin.
I was going to say the same thing.
He was also an Oscar-nominated
Really?
actor for Of Mice and Men that he did with Lon Chaney Jr., who you might know as from
Werewolf.
Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. He was the werewolf in that film. Now, also, we have our good friend Mr. T, pitying fools and having fun. I'm going to go ahead and give him a no horror credits because his only one is Sabrina, the animated series, is considered horror, and that's just nonsense, so he gets nothing. Then we go to the other half of his tag team with Hulk Hogan. I just had to check what his horror movie credits are. Hulk Hogan has an incredible 189 189. I didn't give Jeff the original Predator. Well, we're going to be correcting that. Anyway.
Thank you, Chuck.
Hulk Hogan. Is it later this season, maybe? No, because we have Predator 2.
You gave P2.
I am shocked. I am shocked. Anyway, Hulk Hogan, 189 credits.
How is that possible?
Keep in mind, WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania 2.
Those count?
Apparently.
That's
and
ridiculous.
I tried filtering those out and it didn't work. But he does have 2 horror movie connections. He was in World War Z, which I'd be lying if I said I knew who he played in World War Z. Oh, I do have it written down. 133 of his credits are sports.
Wow.
But see, that also counts that wrestling movie he made
I don't know.
with Tiny Lister.
I have no idea.
All the right move. No, it wasn't all right.
No, that's not a football movie.
But anyway, so I couldn't just say, okay, get rid of all those because some of them were actual acting roles. But his biggest contribution was in the movie Gremlins 2, which you are definitely going to get at some point.
Was he Hulk Hogan in it?
He played Hulk Hogan.
Oh my
and he
God.
gets mad at the Gremlins. And he says, get out of here, brother. We're going to, Hulkamania's going to rain down on you. It's hilarious. It's a cameo. By that time in the movie, all hell is broken loose. It's just a good time for everybody.
Is Phoebe Cates in it in 2?
Yes, she is.
Then you
She
can
is.
assign it to me.
Yeah. And actually, I'm one of those guys that actually thinks Gremlins 2 is better.
I know, you told me that before.
I just do. I love it because the first one's pretty, you know what's going to happen. Gremlins 2 is absolute chaos for the entire runtime.
And I have the same thing with Jaws 3. I think that's way better than 1. I mean, so I can see where Tim's coming from.
Now, one of the problems... It's so idiotic. One of the problems with this movie that I do want to bring up is it does need more murder. The only person that dies is Mickey.
Okay, wait
It would have been nice to have a few more random killings and a guy with a knife.
I've given you sports movies where there's murder, and I don't get any recognition for that at all.
No, I do artificially inflate a lot of my scores for you because of the murder.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
What do you give me? What do you give me?
But I will also, let me mention this. I looked it up. Mike Tyson's run was from roughly 86 to 1990.
Mike Tyson, okay.
Because I was like, I think this Clubber Lang character seems to be based on Mike Tyson. No, this happened before Mike Tyson happened. Short fights in particular. That's what this movie, I thought one of its biggest contributions is the damn fight didn't go on for 30 minutes. So I really liked that, but just for people to know, Mike Tyson might have based himself off of
He
Clubber
might
Lang.
have. He might have.
I'm not saying that for sure.
Tyson
but
was a bad man.
he sure was. He was pitying fools. So, in short, it is time for me to give this one a score.
Come on, Tim.
What do you think I'm going to give it, Jeff?
I like how you're talking. Maybe a 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You
what
got
I'm
a
talking
9. You got a
about.
9,
That's what I'm talking
Jeff.
about, people.
We're giving you a 9.
I know how to pick them. I know how to pick them.
This is definitely the best of the Rocky films by a large margin,
So no
in
more
my
Rockies. No more Rockies.
opinion. You're pretty much out of them. I don't think we did Rocky 2.
We didn't. But
And we didn't do any of the Creed movies.
You got 5 and 6.
That would be a mistake.
And
on
you
your
have
part.
Balboa.
2 is still a decent movie. 5 and I think 6 is Balboa, isn't it?
Maybe.
I think it is. Those movies are not good. They are not good.
See?
They turned from being tolerable to painful.
This is how you
with
milk.
those.
This is how you milk Tim, so you know what not
This
to give
is
up.
how you milked him. I don't want you to give me any more garbage. You've given me enough.
That's
I
not even
can't
true.
take
Not even
any
true.
more. I can't take it, Jeff.
I've given you all good movies.
I am a delicate flower, everybody. All right, you know what time it is, Jeffy?
Well, I just want to tell people real quick, in case you didn't know, Dylan Dog is an hour and 47 minutes long.
Thank you, Jeff. It's time for trivia. Now, for those of you that haven't seen this before, what we do is we say 3 statements. One of them is a big ol' lie. The other two are true. And our opponent tries to figure out which is the lie.
Tim,
Do
this
you
is
want to
so
go
stressful.
first, Jeffy, or do you want me to go
I'm
first?
I'm gonna ask you the questions first
Okay.
because you know what,
I get them right all the time.
Tim.
Let's go.
This is so stressful. Oh my God.
Hey,
All right.
here we go, Jeff. By the way, I didn't put paper down this time, so
Stop it. All right,
Okay.
here we go. Listen up. Listen here.
I am listening with my ears, Jeff. And we're way over time again.
Tony Burton. Well, that's because it's a good show.
Okay.
Tony Burton. He plays Apollo Creed's manager. He's the one who helps train Sylvester Stallone. Look him up if you want.
No, I'm just.
But you know who I'm talking about, right? The bald-headed guy.
Yeah.
Tony Burton.
I didn't want the chat room.
Yeah, I don't want that either because I don't want it to be described of anything.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Tony Burton, Creed's trainer, is one of only 4 actors to appear in all 6 movies in the franchise.
One of only 4 actors. Okay.
The line "I paid a fool" was rewritten after Stallone heard Mr. T. Oh, God, why can't I read this? Okay. Oh, I got it. It starts with a U. All right. The line "I paid a fool" was rewritten by Sylvester Stallone after Mr. T uttered something similar after winning a Tough Man competition on TV.
Okay.
And Carl Weathers played football at San Diego State with the Oakland Raiders and at the British Columbia Lions. He also had a brief stint in the PGA.
Well, Carl Weathers, you used that one when we watched Predator first time.
We never watched Predator the first time, so you can think whatever you want. We had Predator last week.
I'm ready to tell you which one I think is a lie. I
Okay.
think I pity a fool because I believe that was an ad lib that Mr. T just did, and they went with it.
Bum, bum, ba-da.
What's that?
Wrong.
Really?
Sylvester Stallone in Mr. T did these tough man competitions. After he beat the crap out of someone after the second one, he said, "I pay the fool that ever wants to go in the ring with me." Sylvester Stallone heard that line and he revamped it for his own movie. Carl Weathers never played PGA golf.
Never played PGA golf.
Let's
The
do this,
little
baby.
adder
Come
on it.
on, baby.
Okay.
Let's go.
Fantastic. Here come.
Jeff is going
I
to
gotta
bring home.
figure out which ones of these I didn't spoil already.
Yes.
Let's see.
Oh, it's a comic book. Wait, you know what? I'm not going to look by you, but I'm just going to
Okay, here we go.
You see this,
Are you
people?
ready?
You see this? It's coming up. All right, let's go.
You're pretty far behind to be saying that.
Let's go.
Here we go.
Bring it.
Director Kevin Munro
Oh.
also directed the animated feature TMNT in 2007, which stands for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Durr.
And that's my favorite of those films.
Durr.
Second one, Brandon Routh
So,
is best known for playing Superman, but he also played Spider-Man as a voice actor, making him one of the few people to get to play such famous characters from DC and Marvel Comics.
yes.
And the last one, the Italian film Della Morte Dell'Amore, which is the Americanized name of it is Cemetery Man, made in 1994, was based on the same comic book series as this film.
Are you serious? Okay, let's break this down, people.
Stay on camera, by the way, Jeff.
Well, I don't want to look at answers.
Okay, well, stay on camera.
Am I on camera right
you
now?
look there.
Am I on camera?
Okay, go ahead.
Do people want to see the trophy again? Because this is what I'm going to be getting at the end of the year.
Jeff, the longer you take, statistically, and we do have a statistic on this, the longer you take, the more likely you are to get it wrong.
So the first answer.
So if I keep slowing you down, I know I'm going to win.
The first trivia question that you asked me about TMNT and TNT Sports, whatever.
Yeah.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Michelangelo. That one is going to be true.
Okay.
The next one about Spider-Man. You know what? Ha ha ha. Spider-Man. Could you read that one more time for me, please? Please?
Brandon Routh is best known for playing Superman, but he also played Spider-Man as a voice actor, making him one of the few people to get to play such famous characters from DC and Marvel Comics.
Oh, I didn't hear you say that second part. Okay, could you repeat number 3, please, and then I'll be done.
The third one is the Italian film Della Morte dell'Amore. Cemetery Man in 1994 was based on the same comic book series as this film.
It's tough because I didn't hear you say Marvel, and I'm like, oh, he's getting me a Marvel and DC.
No, it isn't going to be something that trivial.
No, I know, but that's why I
But,
thought you were going.
okay, that's
where I thought you
fair.
were going.
It's fair.
I'm going to say the wrong answer is... The wrong answer...
That wasn't dead air. Jeff is staring off into the night sky.
Because
and he's taking more time, so he is definitely going to give us a wrong answer here. I might as well just
Could you just say Della Morte one more time? Do that whole...
The Italian film Della Morte dell'Amore, which is American title Cemetery Man 1994, was based on the same comic book series as this film.
Okay, here's. This is where this shakes down. Number 2 is the false one. Number 2 is the bullshit one.
That is correct.
Yes! That's what I'm talking about, people. Take as much... Here, if you're taking a test, take as much time as you want because you'll come out with the right answer. Yes! Let's see the score, baby.
Just so you know...
Yes!
Della Morte dell'Amore is going to be a movie you get at some point. I discovered this film on Up All Night, and I love that movie.
Yes! Yes!
It's totally bizarre, and I know you're going to hate it. So I can't wait.
Right here, baby. This is this year. This is this year. Bring it back. Yes. Yes. Spider-Man, whatever.
Such a good winner.
Yes.
Such a good winner.
Yes.
All right. So,
What's the score?
Jeff, you are now
Yes.
ahead.
Woo!
You are ahead. It's amazing, and it possibly insane.
It's been a lot of weeks.
Well, a lot of it is you finally found a good movie to show me. That's going to be tough because you do still have to give me sports movies. You're really not given the best ammunition.
It's been a lot of weeks since I've been ahead. A lot of weeks.
It has.
All last season. Because I think I started with like a bad movie last season. Yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
You did. So you're in the lead.
Oh, my
and
God.
next week, we have more here on Dead on the Bases. And the next time this show is on is November 7th. That's after Halloween.
How is that even possible?
It is. And the sports movie, Jeff, is going to be... This is our classic episode. The sports movie.
What is it called?
The Strongest Man in the World, Jeff.
Yeah, Kurt Russell. You bet.
Yeah, okay.
You know what? It is what it is. And I think you're going to like it.
Okay, and the movie I'm giving you is called I Was a Teenage Werewolf. That stars, it's the first film for Michael Landon that he made.
Michael Landon, who is that?
Little
House on the Prairie?
Little House on the Prairie and Touched by an Angel.
Okay, so is this going to be black and white?
It is going to be black and white.
Okay, you might get some points for that. All right.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in 3 weeks.
Why are we doing that? Why are we waiting that long?
Because excellent segue, Jeff, for once.
That's what I bring along.
Here we go.
That's what I bring to the house.
Coming next week here on October 24th, we have Dead On movie reviews. We'll be here on the show. And then the following week, okay,
This is big.
which has October 30th is the Wednesday. That's Hell Night. We're going to have a live edition of Horror Realm Radio.
Oh,
and I am hearing through the grapevine there could be as many as 3 or 4 guest announcements.
No kidding.
You almost did it.
I know. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Then, coming up on Halloween is the premiere of one of our new programs. I said new, not nude. It is called Now Streaming, and it will be hosted by our very own friend, Susie Snowflake is going to be doing that show coming up October 31st. It'll be a program where everybody watches the same movie. Then on movie reviews, everybody sees different movies and talks about it. In that one, everybody will be watching the same film, and I'm going to give away what the movie is. Are you ready?
Wait, before you do that, do you watch it during the podcast?
No, they watch it in advance.
Okay.
And we tell all the audience, go out and see it. It's free to see.
Oh, I got you. I see it.
It's free to see on
see it.
Tubi right now. The name of the movie is Transylvania 65000. It's a horror comedy that stars Jeff Goldblum and Ed Begley Jr., Michael Richards, and a bunch of other people. Oh, and Gina Davis is in there. It's an interesting flick. I think people are going to get a real charge out of our new program now streaming.
I heard that that's the horror version of Pennsylvania 1600, right? Like the one with Wesley Snipes.
You didn't hear anything
Diane
like
Lane.
that. You didn't hear anything like that. You don't know what you're talking about, buddy.
That sounds pretty cool. Then we're the week after that.
Then we come back on the 7th. So we got some great stuff coming up on your Dead On Thursdays here on Twitch.
So I'm going to be away during that time. Is there a way, like this next week, is there a way that I can listen to this without?
Absolutely. People can tune us in on YouTube and any of our, if you don't want to see the video because you're afraid Jeff will be on it, what you'll want to do is just use any of the podcasting type of sites or apps that are out there. We're on almost all of them. So it's a lot of fun coming up here at Otherworldly Culture. Another thing I do want to bring up that a lot of folks are not aware of, we do have a new Facebook group that people can join called Clipping Service. And what we do is we find news stories that have to do about wrestling, about rock music, about horror movies,
sports?
All this stuff that we do in Otherworldly Culture. I do put some sports in there, but real sports like wrestling and UFC. And, real sports. Once in a while, if there's a really interesting human interest story, I'm not going to be talking about, these guys won the home, what is it called, the World of Series or something. That stuff isn't going to be in there because there's a million other sites to find that stuff. I'm more in a personal interest type of things. But having said that, you can go to that particular Facebook group, and if you just want to keep up with what's going on in the box office, what new collectible toys, we did have one about the new toys that are coming out for your movie, The Thing, that you like.
I know.
There are some new toys coming out. We tell you all about that at the Clipping Service, and we get rid of a lot of garbage that you might have to sift through to find those high quality stories.
You know what I want to find? I want to find McReady, but like the funk punk, the pop funk guy.
I think they got one.
I gotta find.
But I think it's a lot of money at this point. I think it's one of those collectible ones.
Well,
we'll have to research
maybe
that
at
for you,
Horror
Jeff.
Realm I'll find it.
You never know. You can find a lot of things at Horror Room coming up in only 100-something days.
You can find our autograph there too. If you stop by our table, we'll sign off on a piece of paper with the ump and the vamp.
I'm not doing that.
I'll sign it.
People want to use my signature, for ill-gotten gains.
That's why I sign my left-handed.
You do?
Uh-huh.
I've seen you do things right-handed as a mess. I can't imagine. The pen will be laying on the floor next to the fidget spinner when
Where
you do
is that thing?
There
it
you
is.
lost
I
it
got it,
early
I got
in the
it.
show.
Yeah.
All right,
Because
so
this thing is ridiculous.
it's
right now.
time to close the crypt and call the game. I want to thank all of you for watching. Remember to share and subscribe to our show and feed. You can find the show at otherworldlyculture.com and follow the show on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Pandora, iHeart, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, and other fine places you find podcasts. So remember, everybody, if it's sports, it's a home run. If it's horror, run home! We're dead on the bases, and we'll see you next time.
have nothing to say, Tom.
Thank you for admitting it this time. Because Jeff is awesome or whatever was at the opening.
Yeah.
That was not one of your more creative.
Jeff is awesome. I will say something regardless of anything.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay,
Forget.
good. We're all relieved to hear that.
See, look at the spinner.
They
people.
can't see you now, Jeff.
Oh,
Now listen, hold on a second. Hey, yup. Listen. Hey, yup.
Stop.
Listen. Hey, yup.
stop with your
Now
ridiculousness.
listen, hold on a second. Wait. Now listen, hold on a second. Listen. Hey, yup.
Good night, everybody. Hope you had a good time. We'll see you back at the beginning of November.
Happy Halloween.
And remember to check out all of our other big shows coming up over the coming weeks.